Well, I have a good story. You all want to hear a good story about Bob and I?
Heck yeah.
Okay, thank you, Brian. But yeah, I woke up about 3 o'clock this morning, and I started writing down some notes and stuff. We had such a great thing. We met about 27, 28 years ago when I first came to the villages. And this was part of it, just down here. We was going into a restaurant, and we was looking for a place to sit down, and Bob and Elise were sitting there. Would you like to join us? Well, anyway, we joined up, and of course, you know, you can't pick your friends or your family, but he's a brother that we both picked, and we've been brothers to each other ever since. And there's a little story I want to go along with all of that, you know, we believe in God, and we know the hereafter and things we do on earth. But Bob had a heart attack in his early 50s, and he had to retire from Kodak. And of course, so he had a minimum pay and retirement, whatever it was at the time. And before that, though, I know I was raising kids, 5 of them. He had to work 3, 4 jobs sometime. All he did was work, basically, the first few years of his life. But I got off course. That's what happens when you get to be my age. I'm only 70, so as you get older, you start losing a lot.
Almost 90.
Almost 90, in case anybody was curious. 31 days, I'll be 90. Yeah. Well, anyway, so we kind of picked each other as his brothers. And he was always very helpful, like whatever either one needed or anybody, Bob was always there willing to help and to do. And looking at my neighbors over here, we were out of town and a storm came through, and Bob came over and they came over. He would help put all the outdoor furniture inside to protect the storm. And he was always there whenever anybody needed him. And of course, he had this place here, and he did great for years. He could connive and do more things on a minimum amount of money. He took cruises, he traveled to Vegas, he traveled all over. He had a great life, lived like a millionaire, really. You'd think he had it, we could travel and do things. But he really knew how to organize and get the bargains and deals. But the biggest thing that he did was he went to New York, back to New York, because they couldn't afford both places. So they moved to New York just a short time in the place they had up there. And the people that he rented from here, he took such good care of their place. They did whatever it needed, he would buy it, fix it up, and he lived there, him and Elise, for several years, and they really kind of took care of the place for him. Well, anyway, they ended up got into an automobile or an accident, and both of them died. And they kept Bob, they adopted Bob as to inherit the place, because he did such a good job for them, for her, because she was a widow at the time, that they just gave him the house. So here he is, and doing fine things all over the world. I always use this story as a way of helping people. God is in charge, really. Things happen to people that do good things, unknowingly how or when it's going to or what's going to happen. But that's certain proof to me that kind of verifies again, which I've always been. Because I went in the Navy at 16, and God was always my friend, the co-pilot, because he's the only one I could talk to that I knew. Growing up Catholic, going to church every day before school. So, I mean, religion was part, God was my co-pilot all the time. And it was Bob's too. And as a result, so he got moved back to Florida here, the house paid for, and he got some cash along with it. And it only can happen to somebody that God engineered to make all of these things happen. Because he did the right things. He never would tell a lie. He would tell the truth, no matter what it was, and he'd stand up for what's right. And I think we pass this along to more generation, younger people, that the Lord is really in charge. And of all of these things, and eventually it all comes back to you and your friends and whoever. And I could go on and on, but he's been a very great friend, and I'm certainly going to miss him. And the last few days, I think he knew he was going. And the biggest thing was he used to take turns driving out to our little church club we had out at the casino. We call it the church. We didn't want to call it go to the casino, so we weren't going to go to church. We call each other, we want to go to church. And so we'd go out there, and he was, sometimes you get in the car and say, Dad, what do you think they're going quiet about? He said, geez, I didn't sleep. And then he's telling me, what about it? Dad, going all the time. My knee hurts, my back hurts, and I have trouble seeing. And, you know, he would look in the cards like this, and he just had all of these problems. So we'd go out there. He said, by playing the cards, he could concentrate because he had to get them up close and concentrate to recognize the clubs and spades and suits. So, as a result, though, he called me up every day. After the first day, he won good. You want to go? Say, yeah, okay. So 3 days in a row we went, and 3 days in a row he won. A lot of money, really. And he was just tickled to death, and with all of that. And I got thinking about all this thing the last 2 weeks. That the same thing there. The Lord knew because he loved to gamble. But he said there's a point here that I can get off of my own problems. So as a result, he didn't want to admit it, but he knew, and he was ready. The Lord's going to take care of him, and the Lord certainly did. So I think the religion and believing in God and the proper attitude in life, stay positive, and carry this word down through. There's too much negativism going on in the world. And the more we can do to stand up for what's right in America, in the Lord's earth. Thank you for listening.
Nice, Joe. Thank you. Thank you.
Mom?
Good, Mom.
Want to go up there with her? You want to go up there, Andy?